Did you always harbour secret dreams of seeing your name in lights? I know I did, but I kept it under wraps. I was terrified to admit it to anyone because deep down I worried that acting was a profession reserved for the soft-hearted something only lightweights pursued. Gene Hackman, a true titan of the industry who held audiences in the palm of his hand for decades, abruptly disappeared. From the glitz and glamour of Hollywood to live a life shrouded in mystery during his final chapter. But what truly transpired in those last twilight years? Were there obscured secrets, bizarre twists of fate, or cryptic signs? And why did his eventual departure from this world leave fans with far more questions than concrete answers? From his vanishing act from the public stage to the startling revelations uncovered at his private estate, here are the peculiar and untold facts surrounding Gene Hackman's final days. Number 10, a secluded existence in retirement after bowing out of the spotlight for good. In 2004, Gene Hackman made a deliberate choice to cultivate a private, tranquil sanctuary far away from prying eyes. Together with his devoted wife, Betsy Arakawa, he planted roots in the high desert of Santa Fe, New Mexico, chasing a serene atmosphere completely removed from the chaos and noise of the Tinseltown scene. Their primary residence, a breathtaking and isolated compound, was even showcased in the pages of Architectural Digest, which praised its peaceful and zen-like vibe. Once he hung up his acting hat, Hackman channeled his immense artistic drive into the written word. By the year 2013, he had co-written 3 gripping historical fiction thrillers alongside deep-sea diving expert Daniel Lenahan, and had also authored 2 solo novels on his own. This fresh endeavour gave him the freedom to deconstruct storytelling from a completely new angle, offering him a deeply satisfying way to keep his creative juices flowing. Outside of his literary pursuits, Hackman leaned into a much slower pace of life. He found joy in the simple things like catching up on movies that his wife picked up on DVD, spending quiet afternoons fishing and painting. These low-key hobbies gave him a sense of calm and normalcy that stood in stark contrast to the high-stakes pressure cooker environment of the movie business. Despite his legendary status, Hackman managed to stay under the radar in Santa Fe. He wasn't just a resident, he was a part of the community, even serving as a board member for the prestigious Georgia O'Keeffe Museum. Taking on this responsibility showcased his deep respect for the fine arts and his genuine desire to give back to the cultural heartbeat of the town he chose to call home. Hackman's withdrawal from the celebrity circuit was so absolute that spotting him in the wild became a near impossible feat. The last confirmed public sighting of the star was back in March of 2024, when he and Arakawa were snapped grabbing a casual lunch at a seafood joint in New Mexico. This incredibly rare appearance only highlighted the couple's unwavering commitment to a quiet life strictly off the grid. Throughout the entirety of his retirement years, Hackman stayed fiercely loyal to his family unit. He and Arakawa, who tied the knot back in 1991, shared an unbreakable connection, and their decades together were defined by genuine love and mutual encouragement. This chapter of his life gave Hackman the space to prioritize his personal connections, finally liberated from the grueling schedule of a blockbuster acting career. Yet even in the quieter retirement, Father Time has a way of making his presence known. As Hackman settled into his new normal, far from the Hollywood hills, he was forced to face the unavoidable hurdles of getting older and grappling with the massive legacy he was destined to leave behind. Number 9, the battle with aging and the weight of a legacy. In the early 2000s, as Hackman crossed into his mid-70s, the physical and mental exhaustion of a relentlessly demanding career began to catch up with him. A major wake-up call happened during a routine stress test in New York, where his physician flagged some serious concerns regarding the state of his heart. This medical red flag forced Hackman to take a hard look at his future in show business. In a candid interview from 2009, he confessed that this health scare was the final nail in the coffin for his acting career, driving his decision to walk away. His swan song on the silver screen ended up being the 2004 comedy Welcome to Mooseport. But beyond the physical health scares, Hackman also wrestled with the psychological toll of aging, especially regarding how he looked on camera. He was open about the fact that he absolutely hated watching himself grow old in high definition, a feeling that played a huge role in his retreat from the public eye. This deep-seated discomfort with his fading youth made him avoid watching his later projects entirely, as he found it painful to square his internal image of a young, vibrant man with the harsh reality of the aging process. Even though he stepped out of the frame, Hackman remained acutely aware of his cinematic footprint. He successfully pivoted to a new form of expression by launching a writing career and publishing several compelling novels. This transition allowed him to keep his artistic voice alive without the grueling physical toll that acting requires. Nevertheless, his disappearance from Hollywood didn't put a dent in the power of his past performances. Fellow actors and movie buffs continued to hail his massive contributions to the art form, with countless critics ranking him as one of the finest talents of his entire generation. Hackman's internal war with aging and his anxiety about his legacy mirror a universal story shared by many top-tier performers who eventually have to face the music of time passing. His raw honesty about these insecurities gives us a touching glimpse into the private struggles that often lurk behind massive public success. Although he made the choice to spend his golden years hidden in the shadows, the timeless quality of his filmography guarantees that his name will remain a powerhouse in the history of cinema. Number 8, a history of health scares. Gene Hackman navigated a minefield of health issues throughout his journey, factors that ultimately steered him toward retirement and his decision to maintain a let us dive into his ultra-private lifestyle. Way back in 1990, Hackman faced a terrifying reality check when he was rushed to the hospital with severe chest pains. The doctors dropped a bombshell revealing he had narrowly dodged a massive heart attack, a wake-up call that forced him to rethink his high-pressure career in Hollywood. This scary incident was the ultimate turning point, pushing Hackman to finally put his own survival above the endless grind of professional commitments. Fast forward to 2004, and the concerns about his physical well-being had gone from bad to worse. Medical experts didn't mince words, warning Hackman that the intense stress of acting was becoming a ticking time bomb for his heart. Taking that life or death warning seriously, Hackman made the gut-wrenching choice to walk away from the film industry for good. This shocking move brought an end to a legendary career that dominated screens for over 4 decades. In a heartfelt statement, he admitted he hated saying goodbye to the craft, but confessed that prioritizing his health was no longer optional. After hanging up his hat, Hackman completely vanished from the spotlight to embrace a quiet life. He packed up and moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico, alongside his devoted wife, Betsy Arakawa, where they built a secluded sanctuary far from the paparazzi. Despite turning his back on Hollywood, Hackman didn't become a couch potato. He stayed incredibly active, constantly cycling and soaking up simple joys, like grabbing a bite at local diners where he could just be a normal guy. Hackman's health battle really highlights the critical need to prioritize personal wellness even when you are at the very top of a high-profile game. His legacy is still inspiring fans everywhere, proving that you can be dedicated to your art without sacrificing your life. Coming in at number 7, he had absolutely zero plans for a comeback. Gene Hackman officially pulled the plug on his acting career in 2004, right after his final bow in Welcome to Mooseport. This massive life change was driven almost entirely by scary health issues, specifically regarding his heart. In a rare interview from 2009, Hackman spilled the tea that a routine stress test in New York had sent doctors into a panic about his cardiac stability, which forced him to take a hard look at the brutal physical and emotional toll of the movie business. He confessed that this medical alarm was the final straw that broke the camel's back, cementing his decision to retire immediately. Throughout his years off camera, Hackman has been like a ghost, keeping a super low profile and almost never doing interviews or appearances. His strict decision to stay far away from Tinseltown was driven by a desperate need for peace and privacy, escaping the toxic pressures and constant scrutiny that define the entertainment industry, this total disappearance only added to the mystery and allure surrounding his iconic career and his private choices. Hackman's stubborn commitment to staying retired shows a deep, profound respect for his own peace of mind and personal happiness. His footprint in cinema remains untouched, and his bold move to walk away while still on top stands as a powerful testament to valuing your life over your paycheck. Next up at number 6, his surprisingly strict health routine. Gene Hackman isn't just a legend for his acting. He maintained a military-grade health regimen that kept him in fighting shape well into his 90s, even after he ditched Hollywood. In 2004, Hackman made fitness and discipline his new full-time job, which is exactly why he enjoyed such incredible longevity. His daily grind involved a serious mix of physical training, a clean diet, and mental wellness, all of which were non-negotiable for maintaining his vitality. Hackman stayed on the move with a routine that included intense cycling, pumping iron, and even yoga sessions. Locals often spotted him biking around Santa Fe, New Mexico, proving he was still serious about his cardio game. Even as he got older, he never skipped his daily walks, making sure he stayed mobile and tough. He also threw Pilates and stretching into the mix, which was the secret weapon for his flexibility and posture. While many other stars fade into a sedentary retirement, Hackman refused to slow down, fueling his enduring energy. What he ate was just as important. His wife, Betsy Arakawa, a former classical pianist with a passion for wellness, acted as his personal health coach to keep his diet on track. Hackman stuck to lean proteins like fish and chicken, while loading up on fresh veggies, whole grains, and healthy fats. He cut out the sugar and processed junk, making sure every meal was nutrient-dense fuel. Sure, he might have grabbed a cheap meal at a party now and then, but he always snapped right back to his disciplined habits. Mental health was another huge piece of the puzzle. He managed his stress levels by trading scripts for painting and reading, finding peace in quiet creativity. Leaving Hollywood behind gave him the freedom to live a calm life without the industry breathing down his neck. This major lifestyle shift contributed massively to keeping both his mind and body sharp. Hackman's no-nonsense approach to health proved his dedication to living a long, high-quality life. By sweating it out, eating clean, and staying zen, he set the gold standard. Let's look at a prime example of how sticking to a solid health regimen can seriously pay off with a long, satisfying life. His unwavering commitment to staying fit kept him moving and shaking, totally independent well into his 90s. Even though he walked away from the glitz and glam years ago, those few rare times we see him prove that Hackman's energy is still unmatched. Coming in at number 5, we have that infamous sighting from 2023. Back in March of 2023, the elusive Gene Hackman stepped out for a super rare appearance near his home turf in Santa Fe, New Mexico. At the impressive age of 93, he was caught on camera just doing normal guy stuff like grabbing a bite to eat. He was also seen gassing up his own ride, which really highlights just how capable he still is and how much he values his privacy away from the Tinseltown madness. Specifically on March 5th, 2023, folks spotted him chowing down at a local favourite Papado seafood kitchen. It's a go-to spot for the Santa Fe locals. He looked totally chill in casual gear and seemed to be in great shape, chatting it up with the staff and other diners. It really showed off his down-to-earth vibe. After polishing off his meal, Hackman was seen running some errands solo. The fact that he was pumping his own gas is a huge sign that he prefers doing things himself, living that quiet, independent life. This specific outing made headlines because Hackman has been notoriously private since he officially retired from the acting game back in 2004. Ever since he hung up his hat, he's been living the quiet life in Santa Fe with his wife Betsy Arakawa, focusing on his hobbies and staying healthy, and just keeping his wellness in check. Even though he's ghosted the movie industry, whenever he does pop up, people go absolutely nuts. Fans and the press are always starving for even a tiny peek at the life of the reclusive star. That appearance in 2023 was proof that he's still got it, living an active and healthy life. By just doing his thing around town and staying visible in the neighbourhood, he's showing us all exactly how to age with grace. He's clearly choosing his own happiness over chasing clout. For us fans, seeing him out and about was a total treat and a rare privilege. It's awesome to see the legend enjoying the retirement. He worked so hard for finding that sweet spot between his massive legacy and his private peace. Basically, getting a look at Gene Hackman in March of 2023 was a heartwarming reminder that this Hollywood icon is doing just fine. He picked peace over fame, and honestly, good for him. Seeing him out there living a normal life just proves how grounded he really is, and explains exactly why he still commands so much respect from fans all over the globe. Moving on to number 4, the man absolutely refused to watch his own flicks. It turns out Gene Hackman had a serious thing against sitting down and viewing his own performances. This wasn't just him being modest. It came from deep-seated insecurities and a real discomfort with watching himself get older on the big screen. Even with his legendary career, Hackman dealt with a ton of doubt and heard plenty of negative noise about his talent early on. That criticism likely made him his own worst critic, judging his work way too harshly. Because of this self-doubt, he skipped out on watching a bunch of his biggest hits. We're talking about massive movies like Unforgiven from 1992. Even though that movie was a smash hit, Hackman wouldn't go near it. He actively dodged any opportunity to see it played back. On top of the insecurity, he really hated seeing the physical toll of aging projected in high definition. He straight up admitted he loathed watching himself get older, so he just stopped watching his later films entirely. The feeling was so strong that he'd rather just do the work and walk away focusing on the craft while the cameras were rolling, instead of reliving the experience at a premiere. It wasn't that he wasn't proud of what he did, far from it. It was more about keeping a healthy distance. By ignoring the final cut, he could keep his head in the game and stay focused on creating without getting bogged down by picking himself apart or worrying about wrinkles and time passing. This strategy clearly worked to letting him drop those raw, powerful performances we all love right up until the end. When you boil it down, Hackman's boycott of his own movies reveals a complicated mix of personal doubt and a conscious choice to prioritise the art of acting over the vanity of stardom. The fact that he could be that good without ever checking the tape just shows his dedication and his unique take on the fleeting nature of the movie business. Coming in at number 3, let's talk about his status as a bona fide Hollywood legend. Gene Hackman isn't just an actor, he's a titan of American cinema. The guy is famous for being able to play literally anyone, bringing a level of authenticity that carried him through a career spanning over 6 decades. Born way back on January 30th, 1930 in San Bernardino, California, his road to the top was anything but a straight shot. He faced some serious hurdles early on, including being voted least likely to succeed by his peers at the Pasadena Playhouse. Talk about getting it wrong. But he didn't let the haters stop him, and he ground his way up to become one of the most respected names in the business. His big break finally hit when he played Buck Barrow in the classic Bonnie and Clyde back in 1967. That role was a game changer, snagging him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. He didn't slow down there, following it up with his iconic turn as Detective Jimmy Popeye Doyle in The French Connection in 1971. That role was the one that finally put the golden statue in his hand, securing him the Oscar. He wasn't just a star, he was a true force of nature. His uncanny knack for inhabiting deeply complicated, imperfect souls struck a chord with moviegoers and critics everywhere, dominating the silver screen all through the 1970s and 1980s. Hackman churned out one powerhouse performance after another. You can't talk about his legacy without mentioning his haunting role in The Conversation back in 1974. Or his iconic turn as the villainous genius Lex Luthor in 1978's Superman. Then there was Mississippi Burning in 1988, a film that earned him yet another well-deserved shot at Best Actor Gold. But it was teaming up with the legendary Clint Eastwood for Unforgiven in 1992 that really sealed the deal. That role brought home his second Oscar this time, securing the trophy for Best Supporting Actor, proving once and for all that he was one of the most versatile and commanding heavyweights in Hollywood history. Then, in 2004, After a career that most can only dream of, Hackman walked away from the limelight. He traded the red carpets for a peaceful, quiet existence in Santa Fe, New Mexico, settling down with his devoted wife, Betsy Arakawa. Even though he left the cameras behind, his massive impact on the art of acting never faded. It only grew stronger with time. Gene's absolute commitment to bringing real gritty and relatable human beings to life has stamped an unshakable legacy on the world of cinema. Losing him at the age of 96 truly marks the heartbreaking end of an era, but his spirit will live on forever through the incredible library of films he left behind. We won't just remember Hackman for his brilliance on screen, but also for the quiet humility and fierce dedication he brought to his profession every single day. As waves of tributes flood in from fellow stars and adoring fans across the globe, it is crystal clear that Gene Hackman's gift to the movies is going to keep lighting the fire for future generations of actors and storytellers for years to come. Now moving on to our second story, the mysterious and tragic passing at his home. In a shocking turn of events, Gene Hackman was found dead at his private estate in Santa Fe, New Mexico on February 26, 2026. And tragically, he wasn't alone. His wife, Betsy Arakawa, and one of their beloved dogs were also discovered at the scene. The couple, aged 96 and 64 respectively, were found in a situation that law enforcement officials are calling highly suspicious. The grim discovery happened when a maintenance crew who grew worried after unable to reach the couple for quite a while decided to enter the property. Inside, they found Hackman's body lying in the mudroom, while Betsy Arakawa was discovered in a nearby bathroom with an uncapped bottle of prescription medication and loose pills scattered all around her. Adding to the horror, one of their 3 German shepherds was found dead inside a closet. Stranger still, investigators noted that an exterior door had been left wide open, yet there wasn't a single scratch or sign of forced entry anywhere. To make matters more puzzling, early tests have already ruled out a gas leak as the culprit. Right now, the precise details of how this tragedy unfolded are still under a very active and intense police investigation. The heartbreaking news of Hackman and Arakawa's sudden deaths has triggered a massive wave of grief and emotional tributes from the entire entertainment industry. Clint Eastwood, the legendary director who teamed up with Hackman for Unforgiven, shared his sorrow, saying there is simply no finer actor than Gene. He was intense, intuitive, and never hit a false note in his life. Beyond that, he was a dear friend, and I'm going to miss him terribly. Actress Gwyneth Paltrow also chimed in, remarking, "He was a true hero to anyone who ever dreamed of mastering the craft of acting." Filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola added his voice, stating, "Gene Hackman is a giant among actors, inspiring, magnificent and beautifully complex in his work. I am deeply mourning his loss while celebrating his existence and his immense contribution to art." As detectives continue to dig into the mysterious and unsettling circumstances of their final moments, the towering legacy of Gene Hackman stands firm, a testament to a life completely dedicated to storytelling and the creation of some of the most complex, compelling characters ever filmed. But while the world grieves the loss of a cinematic legend, burning questions are starting to pile up. What in the world actually went down inside the Hackman residence on that fateful night? Authorities are absolutely determined to get to the bottom of it. Moving to our top story, the ongoing and deepening investigation into this tragedy. As we mentioned, Hackman's body was discovered in the mudroom, while his wife Arakawa was found in a bathroom ominously close to an open bottle of prescription medication, with loose pills strewn across the floor nearby. To add to the bizarre scene, one of their 3 German shepherds was also found dead shut inside a closet. An outside door was found swinging open, but investigators found zero evidence of a break-in or any blunt force trauma on the victims, and the rest of the house seemed perfectly tidy. At first glance, it didn't look like foul play. However, the incredibly strange and eerie circumstances have forced authorities to launch a much deeper probe. Hackman's daughter raised the alarm about possible carbon monoxide poisoning, but early inspections have come up empty for any signs of a gas leak. The local utility company is working hand in glove with investigators right now To completely rule out that possibility, everyone is now waiting on the autopsies and toxicology reports to pinpoint the exact cause of death. Detectives aren't stopping there. They're looking at everything from an accidental overdose or sudden medical emergencies to potential environmental hazards that might have triggered this event. The Santa Fe Police Department has already executed a search warrant to comb through the residence inch by inch for any additional clues. Officials have gone on record stating that while there isn't a smoking gun pointing to foul play, just yet they can't take it off the table completely at this stage. Neighbours have mentioned that the couple had been laying extremely low over the last few months, a detail that has only deepened the mystery and speculation. Swirling around their deaths, police are currently pulling surveillance footage from nearby properties to try and piece together a solid timeline of exactly what happened. This investigation is very much active, with detectives chasing down every single plausible scenario to figure out the chain of events that led to the couple's untimely end. As the inquiry moves forward, authorities are pleading for anyone with any information at all to step forward and help solve this case. Investigators are practically begging for anyone with inside knowledge to finally speak up. Behind the yellow tape, forensic pros are currently ripping apart the couple's personal inventory piece by piece. We are talking about a full scrub of every phone, tablet and private message, desperately searching for any digital breadcrumbs that might finally explain what went down. The whole community is left in shock and tears stuck in limbo as everyone waits for the official report on the heartbreaking end of acting legend Gene Hackman. Along with his wife, Betsy Arakawa, you have to wonder, was his long silence and retreat from the limelight a warning sign before this mysterious and tragic final chapter? Sound off with your theories in the comments section down below. Make sure to keep it locked right here for more investigative updates, and we will see you again very soon.